was that y'all were going where your dog got lost, and y'all finally gave up looking for the dog and headed off down the road and found the dog running down the road in the direction y'all were originally headed.
Twice. Once outside of Washington, D.C. when we were going to Jersey City.
And what happened then?
Same thing. We turned around, went back, and he was running down the road in the direction that we had gone.
How'd you lose in that time?
Well, they didn't have, nobody had gas. Gas was right. Everything was screwed up. And everybody panicking and nobody knew who was in charge and that kind of jazz. And so we had to stop at every...
Where were y'all going?
We were going to in that trip, we were going to Jersey City. But the one that was so hopeless was after that, when the war was over, when we blew out a tire this side of Van Horn and that side of Fort Stockton. And you couldn't get a tire for beans. But the war was over, so it wasn't rationing anymore. And we stopped and changed the tire. We were going to El Paso.
How old were you then?
Probably 15.
So Hank would have been 17?
Hank was all back in Germany. No, he was...
So it was you and your mom and your
Mom
dad.
and Pop.
Okay.
And anyway, we changed the tire out there in the middle of the desert and decided, well, there's no way we could drive on to El Paso without a spare. So we have to turn around and go back to Fort Stockton and see if we couldn't find a tire. Okay, where's Jeep?
So how did Jeep get out of the car?
We let him out while we were changing the tire.
Ah.
So we whistled and we shouted and we called him by name and nothing. Well, hell, he could have been 100 miles away by then, you know. And Pop was had, what, 10 days, 14 days or something before he had to be back in Germany. I said, well, there ain't nothing to it. We're going to have to just leave him, that's all. So we piled up a couple of rocks there so we could see where it was and turned around and went back to Fort Stockton.
To get a spare tire?
To see if we could find a tire. And like I say, in that day and time, military people did draw a little water. And Sears had a tire. And they gave us the tire. They mounted it and all that did. So we took off. Drove 40 miles back towards El Paso. Finally saw the marker on the side of the road. Stopped there and whistled and hollered. Called them by name. Nothing. No dust, no nothing. That one was a long one. So we drove, I don't know, it seemed like an hour going towards El Paso. And Pop says, well, looky there. And right on the middle of the horizon, it's a perfectly straight road, you know.
Yeah.
You can see a dog butt. With a tongue hanging out in front of it. He pulled up behind him and stopped. It was old Jeep. He's going to El Paso. We opened the door and got him in the back of the car. Mom gave him a pan of water, and he crawled up on the sat there and went to bed. Everybody was happy, and that was the end of that story. That was the second time.
But he was going.
He was going.
He was going in the correct.
Paso, huh?
He was going in the correct direction y'all were going in before you stopped, and he knew which way y'all were going. He says, "I'm going to catch you."
Well, I don't know whether he knew he was going to catch it or not, or he just didn't know where his next meal was going to come from if he didn't catch it.
He knew the plan was to go to El Paso.
So we had the same damn thing happen in a hell of a lot shorter time in Washington, D.C. when we were stopping on checking every gas station up there trying to get gas. We had.
And when was this?
This was right after. This was like 1942.
Okay.
And we checking every gas station there, and we got to Washington, downtown Washington, and Pop told Hank, he said, Go ask that cop how you get the hell out of here towards Yankee Land. Or New York or whatever. And so Pop then turned around and handed me the dog, and he didn't have any dog. I didn't have any dog. Where's the dog? I don't know where the dog is. We'd stopped at 11 stations up there on the Blue Ridge Mountains, you know, and we even had to get out somewhere, and we didn't know where. So anyway, they got directions on how to get the hell out of Washington, D.C., and got back in. He turned around, headed back down the highway out of Washington, up on the highway back towards Mississippi. And we didn't drive very long then, back, less than an hour.
So you were going back looking for him?
We were going back looking for the dog. Where the hell was the dog, you know?
Good.
And he was coming toward us. Because he was going the way that he saw us going, you know. And he jumped in there and we went back.
Is that when he had all the cars behind him? I know Grandma.
No, he was walking right down the center stripe, looking at every car that went by.
Aww.
He was looking for you.
Aww.
Yeah, he was looking to see where the hell the car I was in, you know.
That ain't it.
He was going this way.
But it sets a direction that he says, okay, we're going this direction, so I'm going to run as fast as I can until I'm all tuckered out.
I wonder when he would have quit.
Was he happy to be back inside the car?
Oh yeah, he was glad we finally caught us. Or they finally caught him, but he didn't know. That's the same damn dog we got us an apartment in Jersey City when we got there. Pop was working in Bayonne. And
What was he doing in Bayonne?
Harbor Defense. He was in the Coast Artillery. And anti-aircraft. And we were in the Jersey City apartment. And Mom made the deal when we left Mississippi. He said, you can take the dog, but you guys got to take care of him.
Well, you didn't take very good care of him.
I didn't take care of him. Well, Hank was the one that was taking care of him.
Getting him lost.
Yeah. And Grandma was sitting up there on the 7th floor knitting. And Jeep was on the floor there, and he heard something down there on the street. Or smelled something or whatever. Anyway, he jumped up on the windowsill to get out. Well, the windowsill was only about that wide. And the screen wasn't locked. And he went out, and Grandma went, on the floor, closed the screen, put the latch in.
She reached over when he was trying to jump out the window and grabbed him?
He was already out the window. She got his hind leg.
Never dropped a stitch.
Never dropped a stitch.
And how did he get the name Jeep?
Well, that's another story. He belonged to a guy named Bob Oakman, who was a friend of mine.
Uh-huh.
And he had 2 dogs. And one of them was named Tippy. That's his Jeep.
Tippy?
Tippy. And the other one, I don't remember his name anymore. But he and I were in the same class. This was in Greenville, Mississippi.
Uh-huh.
And Hank was out walking around. I started to write all this on the computer and lost it.
I'm recording it, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Anyway,
it'll be saved for all history.
I wrote the first 2 lines about my dog Jeep, and then I said, well, wait a minute, this was Hank's dog Jeep.
What were the first 2 lines? So how you got responsible for Hank's dog?
No, I don't remember. All I remember is I started writing about it, and I thought, well, wait a minute, that's not my dog, that was Hank's dog. He was walking around, and this little hick down, and this little dog showed up, sniffed at his heels, and was following him. So he went on, pretty soon the dog would go off to the right, and I would say, hey, come back, hey, Jeep, Jeep, Jeep. And he'd turn around and come back. And he would Jeep from then on.
He was just making noises.
Huh?
He was just making noises.
Yeah, he didn't want to whistle, or I don't know, maybe he couldn't whistle. He's calling Jeep. And then
What's JP's phone number?